Now, there are a few different reasons for why I used to collect clutter in my life. Parts of me was clinging to the past. I felt guilty at times. There was also a piece of me that was using the things I owned as a means to define who I was. But it wasn't until I took the time to pay attention to my life that I realized that this was the case for me. It was a reality check that was needed. And during this time, I also learned that clutter is sneaky. And it takes the shape of many different forms, yet the underlying reason for why we collect it is usually one of a handful of things. And the first one is because we're used to it. See, sometimes the thought of dealing with the clutter in our lives is daunting, and if we can avoid it, we will. And because of that, we find ourselves growing used to it, comfortable with the clutter surrounding us. Well, that closet has been that way for 10 years, and it's not bothering anyone. Just keep the door shut. I've walked past that box for 2 years now, and honestly, I just started using it as a table. I'm barely home as it is, so why does it matter? Well, I might need that one day, so I'll just put it here and hope I don't forget about it. See, in a weird way, saying these things out loud makes us feel okay with the clutter in our lives, which is why we struggle with dealing with it directly, because changing it would make us feel uncomfortable, right? So instead, we just store it and ignore it. All right. Number 2 is fear of change. It's almost like the idea of decluttering is terrifying, as if it's a scary movie, right? It gives us the chills whenever we think about it because A, we either don't know where to start, or B, we're afraid of change. Now, this fear keeps us from experiencing the true benefits to owning less, because in our mind, anything that's opposite of what we're comfortable with, in this case, our clutter, the things we've held onto for years, can't be good for us, right? So instead of letting go, we grip tighter out of fear of change, fear of the unknown, thus closing ourselves off to growing and experiencing everything life has to offer. Okay, number 3 is guilt. See, we collect clutter because there's something in us, a feeling that's preventing us from letting something go. In this case, that feeling is guilt. Now, in order to overcome this feeling of guilt, we have to change our perspective a little bit. For example, let's say you're holding on to something that you don't need, don't use, don't enjoy, and can't realistically see yourself using in the future. Now, instead of holding on to the item out of guilt because it's in really good condition and we don't want to feel wasteful, instead of holding on to that item, if we change our perspective and think, because I'm holding on to this item that I'm not using, I'm preventing someone else from using and truly enjoying it. See, making a small tweak in our thinking like this can really help dissolve our feeling of guilt. Number 4 is clinging to the past. Now, I want you to comment below and answer 2 questions. 1, are you holding on to anything from the past? And 2, if so, why? See, personally, I don't believe there's anything wrong with holding on to a sentimental item or 2 from the past. You know, something that's truly meaningful and valuable to you. But we have to keep in mind that there has to be a balance. If everything is valuable, then nothing truly holds value to you. If everything is sentimental, then nothing truly holds sentiment to you. Number 5 is self-worth. The more I have, the more I'm worth. I'll feel better about myself, my image, if only I had this thing. My friends will like me more. Things we're telling ourselves internally to justify the clutter in our lives or our need to hold on to something. But see, we have to keep something in mind. See, most things in life are depreciating assets, meaning they lose value over time. Now, there are some exceptions to this, right? A house, a collection of something, and so on, right? Now, I don't want to get into the weeds of that because it's not what this conversation is about. There are some exceptions, okay, but for the sake of this conversation, most things in life are depreciating assets. However, you, my friend, are not. You don't lose your value over time. Your value, your worth is whatever you deem it to be. So when you look in the mirror tonight, or when you finish watching this or listening to this, I want you to tell yourself that I am worth more than these things I own, and these things do not define me. All right, before we continue this conversation, if you're enjoying this and how real and honest it is, let me know in the comment section down below. Also, if you're new here, and you're not subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below and tap the bell so you're notified every time I drop a new video. All right, number 6 is buying too much. When we do this, it's usually the result of or something called aspirational clutter. And I actually talked about this in a video I did a while back, discussing 8 types of clutter. And I'll leave a link to it down below so you can check it out. But aspirational clutter are things we buy and only aspire to use, but never do to the extent that we thought we would. Funny example, let's say you took a walk through a very nice nature trail or hiked a small mountain and you absolutely fell in love with that mini adventure, right? So now you're at an outdoor store buying every piece of outdoor clothing and equipment that catches your eye. Bags, tents, the whole 9 yards, right? And now it's stored in your closet. Some time passes by, you may have gone on a walk or two, but if you're being honest, the likelihood of you pitching a tent in the mountains or going completely off grid is not very high, but you've bought those things thinking you would. See, we have to be conscious of what we're buying and how much we're buying so we can cut back on some of that aspirational clutter in our space. All right, number 7 is never saying no. Simply put, if you say no to nothing, you will say yes to everything. Yes to buying this, yes to getting that, and ooh, I can't leave without picking up one of those. See, saying no doesn't mean we can never say yes. It actually has the opposite effect. When we say no to things that don't matter, that aren't important and don't add value to our lives, it then gives us the room to say yes to everything that does matter, that is important and does add value to our lives. Remember, our homes and our lives are only cluttered if they're filled with things, thoughts, and emotions that we don't want, need, or use. I hope I said something in this video that resonated with you. And if I did, give it a thumbs up for me and comment below so we can continue this conversation. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button and always remember to stay true to you. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.